This is the DragonCon pregame show. Sponsored by the Dish Store of Columbus on News Radio 540 WDAK.
It's the DragonCon pregame show brought to you by the Dish Store of Columbus. Store on Whittlesley Road. Give them a call, 706-561-2345, your local Dish Network provider. I'm your host, Wes Carroll. For the next hour, we'll talk about everything DragonCon. We got special guests Lonnie Anderson and Ernest Borgnine coming up. There's a couple of Emmy nominations and wins between those two, as well as an Oscar. Oh, yes. We'll talk to them. We'll also talk to a couple of locals from Columbus that head up to DragonCon and find out why they go and what they hope to experience this year in downtown Atlanta. And right now, joining us on the phone, we have the Media Relations Director for DragonCon, Dan Carroll. And Dan, we'll just start with the most obvious question for anybody who doesn't attend DragonCon. What is DragonCon?
Oh, DragonCon is the largest fan-run convention in the world. We have everything from gaming to comic books to film to motion pictures. We cover Asian film. Speaking of film, we have our own film festival within DragonCon. We have 40 bands playing 24 hours a day. We take up 5 four-star hotels in Metro Atlanta, and we've been doing this for 25 years, and we're just a party that everyone wants to be part of.
This is my 10th of those 25 years in a row, and I'm really excited about getting back up for that. Dan, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about what 25 years means and some of the new things going on. It's the DragonCon pregame show, sponsored by the Dish Store of Columbus, your local Dish Network provider, 706-561-2345.
This is the DragonCon pregame show. Sponsored by the Dish Store of Columbus on News Radio 540 WDAK.
This is the DragonCon pregame show brought to you by the Dish Store of Columbus, your local Dish Network provider. Don't get stuck on the phone calling one of those 800 numbers, talking to a robot, pushing 1, pushing 5, pushing 7. Just give my friend Aaron a call, 706-561-2345. Talk to a real local person about all your Dish Network needs. Make the change now. We're talking with a guy who's the Media Relations Director for DragonCon, and also a guy I like to call my friend. We're not related, even though we have the same last name, Dan Carroll.
Thanks, Wes. As always, I would be proud to have you as a cousin.
Let's just jump right in. What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most?
Well, two things that we have going on that are new, or 3 things actually, that are really exciting to me personally. I've got teenage daughter. They're having a new programming track to join the Star Wars, the Star Trek, the Stargate universe. A lot of stars involved in DragonCon. But to go along with those traditional tracks we've had, we're adding the Kaleidoscope track, which is run by a young lady down in your area outside of Columbus who's going to be listening to this show. Hello, Jill. And that Kaleidoscope track is going to be focusing on the tween shows that become so popular. On Nickelodeon, on Disney, you see it's Sunny with a Chance, iCarly, Wizards of Waverly Place. Both these shows have just become like wildfire, and we've decided to dedicate a live-action track to celebrating this entertainment.
Adding something for making it more all-age. It's always been an all-age thing, but it's even more so now with the addition of things like that. We were talking off-air about the Masquerade Ball, and this is something special as well for 25 years.
Yes, it is, and this is our first time we're going to be having a formal ball. The individual tracks have had a Yule Ball for Harry Potter, or Last Party on Alderaan. One of my favorite parties is the celebration of Star Wars. The Time Traveler's Ball has gone on. This year it's going to be an all-DragonCon mask parade where you will be required to wear a real mask, and this is where we're going to be celebrating our 25 years of DragonCon. This is the one event to celebrate that specific.
Now, 25 years, a lot of good has been done through different charity work involving DragonCon, blood drives and things. What are some of the things that are going to be benefiting the community this year going on?
Our blood drive has always been the largest blood drive at any fan-based convention in the country. we have received awards for Most Creative Blood Drive. This year, we're hoping to break the record for the largest blood drive, not part of a natural. Blood drives for natural disasters tend to be very productive. We're looking to break that and have the largest individual one-spot blood drive not related to a natural disaster.
It's great, and every year the lines are huge for the blood drive. You guys have so many people that want to jump in there and donate and give, and I know it's a big part of giving back to the community there for DragonCon.
Absolutely. Life South is amazing. They coordinate and run the blood drive for us. I myself used to be in that industry a long time ago. I had a hair back then. But I used to be in blood bank support, so I appreciate what they go through. I know what their needs are, and I just love that they can be here and part of DragonCon. But we have another charity also. If you don't mind, I'll tell you about the National Inclusion Project. Many of the folks out there may be familiar with it, but they may be familiar with its founder, Clay Aiken.
I know Clay.
Do you?
I do.
Excellent. I myself
we go way back.
I've never met him, but he is actually good friends with our Stargate track director, who is not only the person who brought this charity to us through Clay Aiken, but with the Inclusion Project, make sure that handicapped children, regardless of what their handicap is, are able to enjoy the same benefits of childhood that folks without handicaps have. And that's why it's called the National Inclusion Project. One of the things they do is they make opportunities for handicapped and disabled people to be able to enjoy people with handicaps, to make sure that they can enjoy summer camp, extracurricular activities, make sure that the education gets out. And quite frankly, our Stargate track director her family has benefited from the donations from this charity. So we know how good it is, how real it is. And, Clay Aiken, you may not know, this was actually a senior project in college.
I know that involving charities has been something that's gone on for a long time with DragonCon. So I think it's great. And the fact that you guys look for a different one, I think, each year, right? We
do. And last year we contributed over $45,000 to the National Lupus Foundation, which my family is actually affected by lupus, so I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the new events. Let's talk about the Puppet Slam.
Well, Puppet Slams are something I really enjoy personally. For those of you who are familiar with DragonCon or who have been to the DragonCon website, you may be aware that last year our DragonCon television, DCTV, exploded with the new appearance of Bob and Carroll, the Sci-Fi Janitors. Bob and Carroll has caught on conventions around the country, and they're also now working in other medium. But one of the puppeteers, Bo Brown, has been part of the Puppet Slam movement. And for those who do not know, a Puppet Slam is an open mic comedy night or a poetry slam for those who are puppeteers. They are one of my favorite events to go to outside of DragonCon. I love the fact that we're going to have it as part of DragonCon. And just as Kaleidoscope is geared for the younger folks, the Puppet Slam is geared to the mature audience. It does start at 11:30 on Sunday, so it is a wide open event, and sometimes it gets a little bawdy.
Yes, a little blue,
but always almost always hilarious. What's interesting about a Puppet Slam is sometimes they actually put in serious dramatic pieces competing with the comedy.
Let's talk about some of the guests this year. You know, a lot of people like to talk about the return of a couple of guests. Shatner is back. Stan Lee is back. Who are some of the new people who will be there this year?
You know, we always have our fan favorites, and by fan favorites, we mean people who are the stars of science fiction or fantasy shows that the general public might not know. And for those people who do like Stargate, I guess I'm harping on that today because that's my favorite fandom. David Blue from Stargate Universe will be there, and for the first time ever, Amanda Tapping, star of Sanctuary, and also Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis. But for those people who may not be that familiar with the genre television shows, We have a lot of big stars from mainstream television. We have Lonnie Anderson and Howard Hessman.
Yes.
Coming up. And I understand you're going to have a chance to talk to her.
We're talking with Lonnie coming up just a little bit later in the show.
Excellent. And they, of course, starred on WKRP in Cincinnati, which was based on an Atlanta radio station, 790. Here in Atlanta was the basis for WKRP. Also, from the 80s, we have the stars of Back to the Future. We have Leah Thompson, and we also have Christopher Lloyd. We're very happy to have both of them.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, those are great guests to have. For the Harry Potter folks, I know Tom Felton is on the guest list.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's always popular. He's a delightful young man. Just a pleasure to spend time with. He's great running panels. We would love to have more Harry Potter stars, but we've been lucky the past couple of years. We've had the young man who plays Neville, who has turned out to be kind of a heartthrob for the young ladies.
Yes. And
the brothers, Ron Weasley's brothers, the twins, have been here.
And Will Wheaton. I know my mom is looking forward. She's a big Bang Theory fan, so I know she's looking forward to Will Wheaton being in town.
Right, and I don't know if you're familiar with the story of how we got Will Wheaton, but Will Wheaton for years did a gaming convention at the same weekend as DragonCon out on the West Coast. That convention lost its space for Labor Day, so they actually went a different week. And for those who enjoy Battlestar Galactica, you might be familiar with the character the Chief, played by Aaron Douglas.
Right.
Aaron Douglas happens to be the only person I know who loves DragonCon more than me. And he, or more than I, and Aaron challenged Will to come to DragonCon because the other convention had been moved. And it was a Twitter challenge. It was a Twitter acceptance. And that's Will Wheaton is coming. Of course, he was infamous for his role as Wesley Crusher, who was not as well received as they expected on Star Trek Next Generation. Also, we have much more going on at DragonCon than just a guest. We have 1,600 hours of panel discussions on everything ranging from internet security to the music of Toon Disney. And in between, we have giant panels featuring many, many celebrity guests that you'd recognize, down to small panels of intimate discussions on intricacies of fandom.
It really is so much more. I mean, a lot of people tend to think, if you haven't been, you think of it as just sort of a big Star Trek convention, and that's not what it is. It's so much more than that, and it's all these things that you're saying and more.
We have 35 to 40 bands booked, so there are concerts going 24 hours a day there, and some of the concerts are small, some of them are huge, some of them are phenomenal. We have DJs running all night long. We have parties running all night long. We have a daytime convention that's much more conventional, and an evening convention that lasts until 7 a.m. So if there's anything that you're interested in, you'll find it at DragonCon.
Dan, one last question. I know in the past there have been issues with long lines at DragonCon. People have kind of heard that in the past.
You may have heard in the past that there were lines, and I don't want to take too much of your time because I know you got exciting guests coming up. This year we have eliminated much of the hassle with lines that it might have occurred in the past because we're using a barcode system.
Oh, there you go. And last year the lines were better than they had been, so now you've improved that even more.
So we're expecting everyone to just be able to walk in, show your barcode, show your ID, and get your badge.
Thank you so much, Dan. Looking forward to seeing you Labor Day weekend. It's the DragonCon pregame show. Ernest Borgnine joins us next.
This is the DragonCon pregame show. Sponsored by the Dish Store of Columbus on South 1061.